Anyway, so that's great. So moving on, we'll get to Facebook in a minute. Steve Darrow and Dave Big Booty, I saw that you got something you want me to look at, and I'll take a look at that in a minute. Steve Darrow says, if you could travel back in time to personally witness and discover the definitive answer to one of the great mysteries, where would you go and which mystery would you solve? I'm thinking mysteries like why Stonehenge was built, how were the pyramids were built, who exactly were the first humans in the New World, that sort of thing. One provision is that you would be an invisible observer, unable to be harmed or to change events you witness. That's a superb question, and I thought I would have had that. I would have had that answer. I got the feeling I had that floating around in the back of my mind. I have some candidates. I guess if I really had to. Oh, it's a great mystery because this is not so much a mystery as just something I would like to have seen. Well, that's a great question. It's a great question because I'm not speaking. A lot of the great mysteries I don't consider to be mysteries. I don't think it's a mystery how the pyramids were built. And I don't think Stonehenge is a mystery or Easter Island. I don't think the Loch Ness Monster, the Bermuda Triangle are mysteries, none of that. There are definitely things that have happened that are unknown. I'll tell you, on my list of top 3, if I had all of history, I would like to know what the hell happened to, for the love of God, Epstein. I'd like to know what happened. I'd like to be recording what actually happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Of all the things that I've seen in my lifetime, that is the closest. Oh, Dave Big Booty says, watch the Apollo 17 launch. Well played, my friend. But of all the things that I've seen in my life, that one, the Epstein murder, is the one thing that I've seen in my life that most approaches a movie in terms of the sheer kind of, oh my God, kind of. There may be a perfectly good explanation for it. He may have just committed suicide, and a lot of things you gotta give reality a chance before you start invoking all kinds of conspiracies. But that one, I have to tell you, that one looks so bad. And I'll tell you what's really disturbing about the Epstein thing is that we just took it. I know some people are absolutely sure he was murdered. I'm not one of those people because I wasn't there. I don't think you can be absolutely sure on the basis of the evidence that we have. But that one is really smells bad, and not only smells bad, it directly impacts our lives on a daily basis. I saw Eric Blake said he'd like to know what happened to Amelia Earhart. I'm virtually positive. I'm a 99 point something positive that I know about what happened to Amelia Earhart. I think that story's just getting stronger and stronger. There is exceedingly compelling evidence. I mean, really, really compelling evidence that she crash landed on or just the plane just off the shore of an island south of the one she was aiming for. And the evidence seems to indicate that her navigator might have lived for a couple days. She lived considerably longer, but she ended up dying of starvation or exposure. And the reason they found perfume bottles from her period, they found shoes that match her. There's a photograph of what looks like landing gear sticking up in the lagoon, just taken at random from 2 or 3 years after the fact. They just found it there in a corner of a photograph. Artifacts, all kinds of things. I don't think they've gotten DNA confirmation yet. And one of the things that's hard is they're having a hard time finding body parts. And then one of the reasons they had a hard time finding body parts is because that particular island, which name escapes me at the moment, has land crabs like this big, and they just snip things up and take them apart. But when I saw perfume bottles that match the kind of perfume she was known to wear, all of the stuff from the correct period, all of it. Steve says strong documentary evidence that she was captured by the Japanese. I don't believe that because I don't think you need it. I think that explanation is a good one. I thought the most likely answer was she just ditched in the Pacific and sank. How hard is that to understand? I was actually quite astonished they found anything at all. But in any event, they are going out again, and they are going to look for wreckage of the aircraft. Needless to say, if they find parts of an Electra, that's it. And by the way, having recently gotten more interested in naval battles than I had been previously, Paul Allen, who died not too long ago, deserves a real shout out. Not that he needs it from me. Paul Allen was the guy who put the money into Spaceship One and got Burt Rutan his own space program. And Paul Allen has funded a research vessel that in the course of the last 2 or 3 years has found something like 20 shipwrecks. They found the Indianapolis, they found the Yamato, they found Musashi, they found the Yorktown, they found all of this stuff. And it was just really, really good of him. It's just, this is what I would do if I had some money, real money. I would just do these kind of things. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Stout Cat asks about the Malaysian Airlines 370 mystery. I've heard a pretty compelling answer to that too. It's written by a guy named William Languish. Hard to spell his last name, but he did a long, detailed article. He's one of the best investigative reporters I've ever read, and he's an excellent writer as well. And the answer to that, Stout Cat, looks very, very compelling. That it was a pilot suicide. That the guy took off, got him up to altitude, had the co-pilot go in the back and check something for some reason, locked the door, and then before they could batter down the door or take any other action, he depressurized the aircraft, and then flew on for hours. Nobody knows how long he might have lived or died. The plane could have continued on for 6, 7, 8 hours. In fact, that may in fact be the most likely case. The plane just flew until it ran out of gas, and it flew south. They have found wreckage that has been positively identified from Flight 370. And there was one guy who was tracking this wreckage down and by himself basically put the pieces together. And we found part of a aileron here. We found something over there. He really deserves a lot of credit. I love that kind of thing. I was in relation to the person who had so generously put up the money to make these science fiction videos possible. It told me about how he was such a great story. Grew up when he was a kid. Grew up in Hollywood. In fact, lived about 2/10 of a mile from my house. Honestly, just an easy walk, just around the corner from where I live now. And he was telling me a story that he had when he was a kid. He used to hang out with a bunch of other kids, and these kids knew, some reason or another, were connected to Errol Flynn of all people. So they used to hang out at Errol Flynn's house. And from the stories I've heard, first-person stories I've heard, he was everything you would kind of hope that he would be. Well, no question he's a raving alcoholic. I think no doubt about that. But he was, from the sound of it, Errol Flynn was actually Errol Flynn. And just to give you this quick little story, because it does involve a mystery. My friend was saying that when he was young, he was over at Errol Flynn's house, and they used to hang out because he had horses, and they would just romp around up in the Mulholland Drive, Cahuenga Pass, all that other stuff. And then while they're out there hiking, they come across a mound covered with bushes and trees and stuff, and they kind of pull it away, and they find a monument to the Battle of Cahuenga Pass, which I'd never heard of. I don't think they'd ever heard of. And it looked like this thing would be completely forgotten, utterly forgotten. So they went back, told Errol Flynn that they'd found a monument on his property. And Errol Flynn said, "A monument, eh, boys, are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, we're sure." So he said, "All right, let's go explore." So then he disappears. And he comes out 5-10 minutes later, and he's dressed in the bush jacket. He's got the pith helmet. He's got the riding crop. He's jod person. He's ready to go out and be Errol Flynn exploring the backwoods. So anyway, I made a determined effort to find this monument, and it's hardly a word of it. There's a number of other things that are associated with it, and then finally, I found it, and it's bigger than he remembers it. It's possible that it was rebuilt because the actual memorial structure is not that great looking, but nevertheless, it was a fun thing to track down because I've never seen anything like this in LA. It's like you go to a dead end street off of Mulholland Drive, very near Flynn Ranch Road, so that's a good sign that I was in the right place. And there's a dead end street, and there's just one little metal gate there, nothing on it, no markers, nothing, just a black metal gate. It's unlocked. You open this gate, you go down this long kind of corridor. There's these dirt stairs that go up, and then another flat land, and then on the top of another set of stairs, and there's the monument, and it has John Fremont's name on it and all the rest of it. So anyway, that was really cool. It's a fun mystery to look at, although we're not 100% sure we found the right one, but I'm pretty confident. We'll see. Okay.